Good evening, and thanks for joining tonight's TI Technology webinar hosted by Texas Instruments. Tonight we're going to take a look at extending the functionality of your TI-84 plus graphing calculator. My name is Mike Houston, and I'm the moderator for this event. I teach algebra and calculus near Pittsburgh, where I use TI Technology to make tough-to-teach, tough-to-learn concepts accessible to all my students. I'm really excited to introduce our two panelists tonight, Ruth Casey and John Lemaster. Ruth lives in Kentucky, where she taught mathematics in grades 8 through 12 for 29 years. A T-Cube national instructor, textbook author, and former member of the NCTM Board of Directors, Ruth specializes in grades 7 through 12 mathematics, instructional technology, and professional development for mathematics teachers. During the 2015-16 school year, Ruth will be providing training and classroom support as she continues her work with teachers in TI Math Forward and Garrett programs. Thanks for being with us, Ruth.
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be here. Hi, everybody.
And John enjoys teaching mathematics at Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne, where he uses graphing technology daily to engage students. He has been a part of the T-Cube family since 1993, presenting annually at conferences, providing professional development workshops, writing math activities, and serving as a consultant for Texas Instruments software and products. Thanks for being with us, John.
Thanks, Michael. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here.
We're expecting a large crowd, so your audio is muted. Feel free to send questions to John or Ruth throughout the webinar using the Q&A window on the right section of your screen. We'll also be asking questions, and you'll be responding using the chat window. As a reminder, this session is being recorded, and at the end, we'll be providing a link to the event certificate of attendance. Also, many of you may have your TI-84 handhelds or maybe your SmartView software along with you tonight. And if you do, hey, that's great. Please do us a favor and don't necessarily try and follow along step by step. This, again, is being recorded, and you'll automatically get a link to that recording via email in a couple of days. We hope you don't have any audio issues, but in the event that you do, try selecting Communicate in the WebEx menu, choose Audio Broadcast, and then click Join. At this point, Ruth is going to discuss our expected outcomes.
I'm going to talk about what we hope to do tonight, and one of the first things we're going to do is take a look at some software, the free TI Connect software for connectivity. The new version has the name TI Connect CE, so we'll talk about that, how it's the same, how it's different from previous versions. We'll also talk about the teaching tool, the emulator software, TI SmartView CE, and John and I both will be using this throughout the webinar. We'll talk about some additional online resources, not just the software, but we'll talk about apps that we're going to be using on our calculators, and we'll talk about activities that are available. Apps that we're going to be covering tonight, we hope to get through quite a few, but we'll go where the path leads us. We'll start out with the Inequality app and Transformation app and move down the list through the ones that you see listed on the screen there. And then wrapping it up, we'll talk about the summer workshops through T-Cubed, and there'll be a giveaway.
Thanks so much, Ruth. And John is going to discuss our expected outcomes.
Thanks, Mike. And at the end of this webinar, we hope you'll be more comfortable with the apps that you see listed here on the slide and using inequality and transformation graphing to extend the functionality of your y=function mode graphing, doing some data collection and performing random simulations with the ProbStim app is what we like to call it, and then using the features of the polynomial root finder simultaneous equation solver, that's a big mouthful, and the conic graphing app. Now, Ruth, I'll turn it over to you to start us off.
All right. Thanks for sharing those outcomes with us. We hope we get through the things that we have planned. I'm going to begin with talking about some of the resources that are going to be available to you at the end of the webinar tonight. And in an email a bit later, Michael will send you a link about some of the resources that we're going to be using tonight. One of the pages, it's a single-page document. It's too tiny there to read. I just copied it and put it in a slide. It has oodles of links in it. So as we talk about things tonight, there is going to be there will be a file that you can use to get those links. And if you just can't stand it and you have another device handy, there's a QR code and a shortened URL that will take you to a place where you can get that single page list of webinar resources tonight. You can also get some links to other some activities that we'll be talking about tonight. So if you're interested in looking at some of that information as we go through the webinar tonight, then you might want to grab that URL. Maybe we'll put it in the link. Put it in the chat. All right. Again, you don't have to go there. As Michael mentioned, this is being recorded, and you have an opportunity later to look back and go, what did she say? Let me try that again. Where did he go with that? And that way you'll have an opportunity to pause, to fast forward, to do what you need to do to really get moving with things. So classroom software for the TI Plus family. Okay, we are going to be looking at the free software, the TI Connect, and couple of versions of that. And in the document that I just referenced, the ones that you can get from that website or from the files that Michael sends you, there are links to take you to where we think about looking at more about it. I'm going to go right there right now. This is the education home site from TI under downloads. You don't have to do this if you just click on the links, but under downloads, if you go here and then software, I know sometimes when I watch other people point and click, I kind of get lost. It's one of the reasons we wanted to put together that one-page thing with a whole bunch of links so you can go right to it. So here we have TI Connect CE software. So I'm going to click on that. And this is a great page for information about it. Here's the previous version of TI Connect software. Here is the newest version of TI Connect CE software. Over here you can see the difference. How do I know which is which and which one do I use and how do I get them? So I'm going to be using the TI Connect CE software. This webinar was advertised for the 84 Plus family of calculators, so my TI Connect CE software will will talk to the 3 models of 84 calculators that I would need. Okay, so that's the Connect software. I'm also going to be using the emulator. The emulator is the instructional tool for the 84 Plus family, and as I get started with it, we'll talk about it more. If you've watched any of our webinars before, you've seen us using it. I'm going to be using it on a Mac tonight. John's going to be using it on a Windows machine so that we can see that it works well in both environments. All right, so let's get started. Here, I'm launching TI Connect. This is TI Connect CE on my Mac. I can click over here if I want to learn more about it. Under Help, down at the bottom, what version am I using? I always try to check. Do I have the latest? Will it send me updates, or do I need to go and look for them? Another thing I want to emphasize up here, TI Connect CE Help, great resources there. If I don't know how to do something, if I can't figure it out, I could ask John or Michael, but maybe they don't get back to me in time and I just want to know, so I can use my help right there in my software. Okay, so I'll get out of that. This is communication software, and it's free. If I want to get something to my handhelds, if I want to get something from my handhelds, this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to plug in TI-84. I'm plugging in an 84 Plus CE. It could be an 84 Plus C, or it could be a regular 84 Plus Silver Edition. I'm going to turn my calculator on. It recognizes that it's there. If I had more calculators, more USB ports, it would populate them down this panel right here. If I want to see what's the contents of the calculator that's connected, I click on Calculator Explorer, and it shows me I have all of these things. I can slide them off of there, drag and drop if I have a file that I want on my calculator, such as one of the apps that we're going to be talking about tonight. I download the app onto my computer from the education site, and then I just slide it over here and I'm good to go. So that's the Calculator Explorer. If I go back to screen capture, in your class, students want to share their work. You want to capture an image so you can maybe paste it into a document, whether it's an electronic document or a print document that you want to print. You can capture a screenshot of calculators. All they have to do is plug in. I'll show a screen capture of what I think I have plugged in over here. It's capturing my screen. Woohoo! So I have an image in the background of it, of my TI-84 plus CE. All right, so that's the TI Connect CE software. It's free. Lots of links in the documents that you're going to be getting from us. Okay, all of these links are there. Help you determine which one you want to use. All right, so I don't think I need to use TI Connect right now because I have everything on my handheld that I want to use, say get files to my students or from my students or get apps onto calculators. So I'm actually going to quit TI Connect CE right now. If I've been taking screen captures, I have an opportunity to save them. I can save them just as the files that they are. I can copy and paste them into other ones. I'll say no, thank you. All right, next thing I'm going to launch is my TI SmartView CE. This is the emulator software. If you had a previous version of TI SmartView, you want to see about getting an upgrade, so check the resources on the web page. Let me find my resources right here. That's not the one. Let me find my resources right here. All right, so I want to get software and software, get the latest download, search now. Again, the documents you're getting from us will have those links there for you. All right. Over on the right, we had our TI Connect CE software. That's where I went for that. If you want some SmartView software, we can also link to that. I clicked on the wrong link. I'm not going to take your time tonight to watch me point and click and get there. Just rest assured that it is in this document on this link right there. And as we see in the chat, they will help you upgrade from an older version. So I clicked on a link and it went right there. Yay, I was testing my PDF and it actually went right there. Okay. TI SmartView. Look, on the right, can you see? It says TI SmartView CE Update. Download the latest version of the CE software. So two different softwares I've been talking about tonight, the TI Connect CE, the free connectivity software, and then this one, the SmartView tool for instruction, the emulator software. All right, I have mine launched already. I'll get rid of that for right now. I'll get rid of that for right now. So this is my TI SmartView software. I have it so that I do not have a large screen displayed at the right-hand side. Very easy to click on that and get a large screen displayed over here for your classroom. I wanted to just minimize it like that to show you the different calculator models, the different ways you can see it. I can click under View, what I want the faceplate to look like, based on the projector and the lighting in your classroom, what shows up the best. So that's under View. Again, we're going to move fast tonight. This is kind of a tour. We're going to rely on people to ask questions when we need to go over something again, but also recognize it's in the webinar. It's in the recorded version of it. I use this version, the outline, when I want to copy and paste, like put the calculator map, a snipping tool of that, a picture of that on a handout or something. But I generally like the faceplate to be kind of looking like that. Now, which model am I using right now? This emulator is on the TI-84 Plus CE, so the very latest version. Okay, and over here, I can pull down the TI-84 Plus C, and then I can pull down the 84 Plus. Okay, so this one piece of software is my instructional tool for 3 models of 84s in my classroom, whether my students have 84 plus or 84 CE, or we have a mixed bag of things in the classroom. All right, I am going to switch to a large screen display over here, and I will switch back to my 84 plus CE. Alrighty. One thing that I did not mention, well, I mentioned it, but I never really did it, apps. I'm using 3 different calculator models in one piece of software. Each different 84 model has a different app file that has to be loaded. So from my education home site, education.ti.com, under downloads, I can move down here and choose apps. What model of 84 plus are you using? So under technology, I'll select it. If I'm using the 84 plus CE, I would choose that one. And if I want to look at these math apps that we're viewing tonight, I would choose that, click Find, and we are good to go. It's showing some apps there. Version, okay, they are not interchangeable from an 84 plus CE to an 84C. I can't link them from one model to another. Amongst the models, a CE can link to another CE and send the app files that we need. All right. So be cautious, be aware of which calculator model you have, and if you need to put an app on it and you don't have a neighboring calculator of that's the same model to link from there, you can get it from this location. Okay? And again, we would hope that those links are here on the PDF that you can download. All right. I'm just reading some chats. I'm hearing, I'm not having any audio problems, but I'm doing all the talking. So just keep us going. Let us know how it's going. All right. So here I am in the TI SmartView CE software. I have the model selected that's the latest model. We kind of have a clue that that's going on because I have some color icons right here. Okay. I'll just go ahead and click Graph to see what it looks like. Let's think about what we're graphing here. Looks like I'm graphing greater than, not greater than or equal to, because I have a tiny little dot, dot, dot showing up there. This expression, and then another expression down here in Y2, and then Y3, I have the opposite of what's up there. Looks like I want to do both halves, circle. All right, let's just see what it looks like in Graph. Boom, there we go. It's kind of nice. Interesting. This particular set of expressions, set of things that we're graphing, comes from an activity that's called inequalities. They are not just linear anymore. This is actually a legacy activity, which means it dates back to maybe TI 84 plus. First time we had some apps on there, maybe even TI 83 plus. The technology has changed and evolved with different features and things, but there is great mathematics in here. If I want to graph an inequality, graph an expression. This activity has step-by-step instructions. As I said, they are a little dated if we're thinking about our newest, latest color models with lots more pixels and lots more definition on the screen. But the mathematics is still great mathematics, and just thinking about what can you conclude about the points that lie on the parabola. I mean, good questions, be thinking about it, what's the graph going to look like? So that is called inequalities. They're not just linear anymore. We have a link to that in the documents that you're going to be getting, and also I believe that file in its entirety is posted on that Google site that we put together for you. Again, some of the legacy activities way back when the apps were first created for the 83 plus and the 84 plus. But when I'm in a classroom and that's what my students are using, it's great to have keystrokes and screenshots that match the model of the calculator that we're using. All right, so here's what it looks like on the 84 plus. Again, I'm using TI SmartView CE. Over on the right side, where you see a big version of the screen, it's bigger pixels, they're on or off. I don't have color options. I'm going to switch it to not a large screen just for a minute so that we can see how this works. Now, I want this third expression down here in Y3 to actually say greater than. So I have to get on the equal sign. So let me back up and get on the equal sign. Once I'm on the equal sign, I can change it to whatever relation I need. Okay, so in order to do that, I have to click the button under it, but not just the button under it. These are functions, F1, F2, F3, and so on, and that's in green. So I have to do alpha. If I want greater than, I do alpha trace for F4. So that's how I change the symbol in the inequality app on the 84 Plus and the 83 Plus back in the day when it was first created for us to do this kind of graphing. All right, so I'm just going to press graph and see what on earth I get a picture of. What does it look like? All right, I'm going to take a breath here. In the chat, why don't you just send us a quick, what do you use in what do your students use? 84 Plus, 84 Plus CE? Give us a quick in the chat, what model of 80-something calculator, graphing calculator do you use in your classroom? 84 Plus, all right.
Mark,
okay,
I like your comment about one time you thought that was pretty.
Right, one time we thought, whoa, look at that graph. Okay, I am seeing a lot of 84 Plus. It's one of the things that we talked about in advance of while we were preparing for tonight. We didn't want to do everything on the color version. We didn't want to limit just to the previous 84 Plus without some of the enhanced features. So we wanted to show this, especially with the apps. They behave differently as it evolved from the 83, 84 Plus into the C and the CE. We wanted to provide examples during our webinar tonight and also some of those digital copies. Okay, so this is a graph. That's kind of a messy looking graph, but we have some options under here. Okay, I see the word shades. It takes up 2 spaces here, so I can alpha either one of these two, Y equals or window. So I'll say alpha window. What do I want to shade? Let me shade the inequality intersection. See what that looks like. So there's the first inequality being graphed, and the next one. I think that's still pretty amazing. Woohoo! And when I saw it on the handheld for the first time, way back when on an 83 Plus with the apps key with the inequality app, it's kind of a shiver ran up my spine. All right, so there it is. Again, step-by-step instructions for that, and the rest of the mathematics being addressed in that activity that we were talking about. They're not just linear anymore. So I'm going to switch and look at the 84 Plus CE. When I'm in Y equals here, I don't have to change right on the symbol. I move to the left. You tap Enter. I'm going to make the screen bigger because I don't need any of those keys underneath. And then this is where you can change the expression that you need, what kind of relational symbol you need. And be sure and always click OK when you're done. All right. So there we had it, and we got some things going on. We might want to do some shading. We had that before. So that's a little bit about the inequality app. To get it launched, I just pressed the apps button. Just like on my handheld, I have to be sure that this file is in my SmartView emulator software. And so I'm pretty sure the apps come preloaded on there, but if for some reason the app had gotten deleted, I could click on the Explorer. So I'm looking at the contents, kind of like when we were using TI Connect to look at the contents of the calculator. Okay, it's giving me the contents of the Explorer. If I've downloaded the app from the website, I would just drag it over to here so that we could see it. So I want something on it, I have it on my computer, I drag it over there. I want to copy a file onto my computer from my emulator, I can do that. All right, so that's just a tour about the Inequality app. Got to get the app on your handhelds, got to get the app on your SmartView emulator. If you're using a handheld under a document camera or something, if that's your display device, just be sure the apps are there. And then find good resources. Share your colleagues have been using good resources. You have been using good resources. If you have a great activity, chat about it up there, and maybe a link to where we can, or your email if you have a great activity for this app. Let us know who you are, and we would love to share your app. Okay, so this is where that short URL takes you to this Google site that we've put together. These are all links that'll take you to things that we've been talking about tonight. Very quickly again, point, click, point, click. Wait, you want to not just watch Ruth do it, but you want to do it yourself. Then down here, links to the activities. We have activities, as I said, there's some of the legacy ones from back in the day of 83 plus and 84 plus, the very first times we had apps. So if you look at it and you think it looks dated, that's because it is, but there's still good mathematics. And if you are using those as your class set or a student has it, great resource for screenshots and keystrokes. Here we were, Inequality app. Inequalities, they're not just linear anymore. You can click on those. Also, down here, that's the PDF with the links on it, the one page with some of these resource links on it. And then in each folder down at the bottom, we have activities listed. When you do a 1-hour webinar, you really can't make everybody happy all the time, so we wanted to offer something for everybody, just and kind of a tour and go through things as quickly as we could. It's about time to talk about some of the other apps. Transformation Graphing app works on your 84 plus, your 84 plus CE, and your 84 plus C. I'm going to press Y equals. Oh, I've got that inequality stuff going on. Before I leave the Inequality Graphing app, don't forget you can graph X equal. I can put in a constant here, so I can get some vertical lines, vertical half planes, and things like that going on. All right, that was my X equal. That's in my Inequality app. All right. If you're thinking about constraints, X has to be between -1 and 3 or between 2 and 5. There we go. All right. I'm ready to quit using the Inequality app and switch to the Transformation app. Again, it's a quick tour. Can't do everything all at once. Can't really go into it deeply, but it's recorded. Go back, try it again. Did you see me? I missed it. It's at the bottom. Or, okay. I want the Transform app. It goes, hey, you've already got an app going. What are you going to do? So I want to quit. I've got some apps. I want to quit the Inequality app. All right, and start the Transformation Graphing app. All right, so, nothing really happened. So Transformation Graphing app is about transformations of functions. These are my expressions left over from when I was using the Inequality Grapher. I'm just going to clear those out. Okay. There is an expression I want to put in here, and I typed it in advance. I hit it down in Y0. So I am going to second store recall. So this is going to be copy-paste kind of thing. This works on 83 plus, 84 plus, all the C models. So recall, what do I want to recall? I want to recall that thing which is in Y0. All right, so it's looking at the contents of Y0, and now it's pasted in there. Now, it would have probably been quicker for me to just type that in there. I knew what I needed, but just a refresher, did you remember that you could copy-paste? We have that feature on our 83 and 84. All right, calculators in on my emulator. Okay, so in the Transformation Graphing app, I can use it to change parameters. A, B, C. If I only have one parameter I want to mess with, I start with A. If I have more, then I proceed down the alphabet, A, B, C. All right, I'm going to press window right now because it's a little bit different than my ordinary window settings. All right. These things are like pause, play, fast forward kind of settings. If I just wanted to graph y equals 1x squared, I'd have 1 there. B would be a 0. C would be a 0. Let's press graph. It's telling me what's going on. All right, and I can use my tool, my arrows, to change that. If we see at the bottom of the screen, A is the parameter that's highlighted right now, and I can increase and decrease the value of A to see how it affects the behavior of the graph. What is it doing algebraically? What's it doing graphically? Oh, there we have it. What if A is 0? Okay, I'm going to switch a model of a calculator. I'm going to switch back to the, I'll say black and white version. Apps. It's transform. It starts with a T. So I'm going to go alpha T to jump down to the T's. There it is. Transform app. Okay, mine says, do you want to quit it? What do you want to do? I want to have an app conflict. All right, so now I've launched the transformation graphing app. Go into my y equals. I have these expressions left over from the inequality, clear them out, clear them out. As we look in our y equals menu, funny stuff going on over to the left of the y variables. Okay, that's a good indicator that I have the transformation graph app running. When you are in the transformation app, you can only use one y equals at a time. You can't graph 2 separate equations. And so if a student comes up and says, my calculator won't graph both of these, just check their y equals, see if you have the app running by the icons over at the left. Just like on the CE version of this, I had something already typed down in Y0 on my 84 plus in the transform app. I'll go at it this way. I'll go vars, y vars. I want a function variable. I want the one down there in Y0. I might have missed it. Okay, so I'll do that. All right, actually, I wanted to recall that. I could do this and it would do it, but I wouldn't see it. It's equal to that same value, but I did want to recall it so that I see what happens. So I'll just do the recall down here. Vars, y vars, function, 0. So now it doesn't just put the symbol Y0, it also, oh, maybe I didn't have anything in Y0 in this app. I thought I did. Anyway, it works the same way. All right, and the parameters work the same way. I guess I deleted it. So it will look like A times whatever I want it to look like, where you have variables that you want to change to affect the outcome of the graph. So on the older version, the 84 plus version and the 84 plus CE version, they behave a lot alike, very much alike. Some great activities to go along with the transformation graphing app. You don't have to have a pre-made activity. Heck, you can just explore it, have your kids explore it, have them think of it. What have you been doing? What have we been doing? Let's share that information. But if you want to look at some of the activities, we have some links here. For you, exploring vertex form of quadratic, exploring exponential. Roots are made for walking. That's an activity that John put together for us. This isn't a link, but that's okay because the activity is down here in the transformation graphing folder. All right, I think that's all I'm going to say about these 2 apps. There are lots of other things to explore. Just a reminder, you've got our contact info, you've got the chat opportunity while we're here live. And this is recorded. Go back, watch again, share your information with each other, with us. And I think at this point, let me just see, did we cover this? We did. Did we cover online resources? No, not really. I haven't talked about these yet. This is where activities are coming from. John, I'll just wait and let you point and click on some of the great places to find activities. And I'm going to turn it over to my buddy John.
All right, that was great. And one of the things I'd like to share with my screen, I'll get this screen to show. Here's the home page for TI, and we talked a little bit about finding those resources, which we've built that file for you. One of the nice things about the apps, you can get them directly from the download site, and we had a few things that were questioned in the chat about, is there a way to do square root math? If you look at the TI-84 Plus and go to Math Apps, there is a app for math that you might want to take a peek at, and I had put that link in the chat window. But I also wanted to share with you about the ProbSim app, probability simulations. It was made back in the year 2000, and it was by Corey Taylor and Rusty Wagner. And these were two high school kids, and they had written programs and assembly language stuff on TICalc.org. And your students probably know about that website because it has a lot of games on it. And when they built this app in 2000, that's when the guidebook and a manual was also created. And so if you want to find the TI-83, to find the probability simulation guidebook to get some help, you'd have to go actually under TI-83 Plus. It's a little sneaky to find that. We're going to go to Math App and hit Find, and we'll see a, I'm just going to put that into a new window to make sure that we have a fresh view. And there, if I scroll to probability simulation, there's actually a PDF there. It's designed for the early version of it, and what happens when you now look on the 84CE or the 84C, when we get into this, you can see that there's some choices here just like the original app, but it's been sort of like an old Ted Turner film, they've colorized it, and so now we've got a little higher resolution. And I'd like to share with you some of the features here. And curious, too, if you'd write in the chat a yes or a no if you've actually used the ProbSim app, and the just kind of curiosity of how much you've seen already of this. One of the things that's helpful for me is a menu map, and so I'd like to share with you that I created this little menu map that you have also on your page in your folder, so that you can see there's all these first screens here, and these actually are linkable little clicks. If you click onto page 2, that'll show you all the menus on the Toss Coins area and so forth. So we're going to dive in there, but sometimes the menu map helps me kind of get an overview of things, and you can enjoy some of that later, but it helps me feel less lost when I'm in the app, and also know what kind of things should be similar. So one of the fun places to go on this ProbSim app is tossing some coins and rolling dice. If you look on the front screen, there's a seed, and we don't have a logistic function simulation there, but we do have a disease with the random with the random numbers. It's an activity in our pile. Dave, you had asked that. Can you use it for logistics? So there is a random number generator that can be kind of fun. Just noticing we've got marbles, a spinner, cards, and so forth. The seed it's sort of an interesting way to think about finding a random number. If you've ever used tables of random numbers, the seed would make sure that these are all random numbers, but if I plopped right here, it started at that position in the random number table, that would mean that every calculator is generating the same random numbers. It doesn't seem random, but they really are. And so if I were drawing a deck of cards, I've shuffled the cards, and I'd have the same deck in every calculator. If I went to seed and just typed in and asked the class to all put in the same seed. So you can choose to do that. Now this escape is really just means back, and I like to sometimes think of escape in this case as bail, meaning if you're going to do anything on there, there's an OK and then there's an escape, and OK is what you want to hit. So we're going to hit OK by using the Y equal menu, or Y equal button, and I could go just press roll and roll some dice, and that's a little chancy without knowing what sort of are the defaults. So let's use the set soft key, and we'll kind of give you a guided tour of some of these things here. That means I press the zoom button, and I will now notice that I've got some features here that are worth describing. And the trial set is really just how many times when I press roll will actually I see how the menu, the dice will actually, how many rolls of the dice will occur. So I could put 999 in there, and then every time I press roll, it'll roll 999 times. I'll leave it at 1 because 1 is handy in that it gives me further options if I change my mind. And so that let's put in 2 dice. We can go further in terms of dice choices. Let's leave that default on frequency. And when you go into some of these choices here, I can decide if I want more features here to show about the table, about whether I store it or not. And I'm going to have to remember some of these buttons like table, that's not that important. But the biggest button that's important is OK. Absolutely OK. And otherwise, escape means bail and say, I'll just full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Now, this scares me sometimes when I look at this. I'm easily frightened. But, you know, oh, I'm going to clear everything. Well, I didn't even have anything in there yet. So this is anything that, this is just a nice, friendly screen that says whatever you have is gone. We're going to leave everything now according to this. And so I'll hit yes, and then I'll roll. And when I hit roll, since I asked for just one trial per roll, you notice I've got choices to have more 50s and so forth. So I can roll these dice this way. And you can create a simulation, and I can press the right arrow key or left arrow key and actually get some frequencies, which then I can keep rolling to look at. Now, if I went to escape, and go back to the set button, I might notice there was an advance that's kind of worth peeking at. So if I play with advance, suppose I want to change this so that no even number is on the dice. So if I just wait to change the dice in this way, and now the probabilities all add up to 1, and again, I better hit OK, or life was just a dream but not real. And when I look at that, I'm now not going to have a 6 on my dice, so there's no way I can get a 12. I'm going to make sure I have OK, and whatever I had done before is fine. We can go, and I'll press roll. So you can start predicting that, well, 12 isn't going to be there. What's also nice is I can escape and get into other settings here to change this. Oh, I'm going to go back to escape. That table, as I can display this as a table and roll. And I like to do this because then the students aren't seeing the graph and they're only seeing the data. So neither will 11. What other numbers, Leslie? You got that. You have that pretty clear. That no, all these odd numbers, when I sum them, are only going to spit out a kind of a pattern, and students might actually start making some conjectures here. And what do you think might be the most frequent sum that's on the list? And you can type that into the chat. And I'm going to just roll this all the way. I won't go out to 9,999, but enough to actually get the law of large numbers in my favor. And if I now go to the graph, I can see that indeed, if you predicted that 6 was the highest frequency. You're right on. And we can go back to set, and I can change the frequency to simulated probability. So I'm still kind of within this same simulation, going back and forth to set. And we can hit enter, and then remember, hit OK. When I now hit the left or right arrow key, I get simulated probability. So this is 0.34, and so students might want to look at the theoretical probability, and this is actually in the handout attached to in your pile of fun stuff, where it's called Roll the Dice, and the ones that you have an area model that the green was the 6, and it looks like 1/3 or 3/9 is pretty much the theoretical probability. Of course, you can change this to any choice and get some great questions there. Change your dice to 8-sided and so forth. So those are really nice questions that you can start getting some inquiry-based learning there. One of the nice things, too, is this data button can now actually get this all stored actually outside of the calculator app. So if I wanted to press yes, I'll press the Y equal. I might want to start touching my calculator's keypad to start graphing my list. It said it stored it to the list. But I can't get there unless I get out of the app, and then it's available. But it's sort of like you're in Narnia right now, and you can't bilocate. So you just, once you leave Narnia, get out of the wardrobe, you can get there. You can't interact with the other things until you're in the app, out of the app. And so I'm going to save data again just for kicks. When I leave, I'm going to notice that cards is kind of fun because it shows a bit of animation that you can actually draw, and it really had some, really excellent work going on. If I escape now, it's nice to notice that to return to the main menu, I have to hit the left to get to the main menu, the right to quit, and then the left again to hit yes. So kind of like the military, left, right, left. And I notice that on my menu map, what advanced enables me to do with the dice also enables me to do with the other features too. So here was the dice, and I could change the dice, and there was an advanced. And so if I were to weight coins, I can see that I can have an advance there, and you can play along here. Interesting, the cards, you can't stack the deck. So you can't change the deck and say, I only want one card in the deck, and that they gave up on that. But there's the Probability Sim app, and the next thing I'd like to show you is that I'm in a mode here. If I press my list and hit edit, I've got some lists already built in. This is going to be useful later in a moment. And if I hit second list, there was some of the data there that I had asked for, D1, D2, and sum. So if I wanted to see what was in the sum there, I can just bring it into my list editor, and I can play then with it. One of the things which nicely enables me to do with the other app, which is the Polynomial Root Finder Simultaneous Equation Solver, which for reasons we probably know why, they call it PlySmilt, on the app. It is, maybe people don't, but PolySimult. But it is, too, like another Narnia world where you can go in and do things. But in this case, I want to have created some lists like this. And I'd like to share with you a fun activity that involves the roots of unity. And those lists, this activity is in your packet, too. Those lists actually have a meaning because those are the coefficients of the polynomial x cubed minus 1, x to the 4th minus 1, with a bunch of zeros in the terms that of degree that I don't care for. And so if I wanted to look at those, I'm going to go into that PolySimult app. I'll press 7, and there are 2 apps in one. And there, what I'll do is be careful about this screen and its wording. Suppose I want to order, 2 roots. That's not really what that means. It means that it's a polynomial of the polynomials of order 2. They don't want to say degree 2 because this degree down here is actually referring to the polar form of the complex number. If I went to 3, well, if I go back to 2, I can just share with you some interface issues. We have to hit enter here, and okay, hitting next gets me to a nice way to kind of build in some of these friendlier interfaces. I can use some math print here. I can change this actually to make it look like x squared minus 1. You and I know the answer. It's not a surprise, but when we get into changing this to a higher degree, well, I could go to this mode button, but I have to be very careful when I teach with this because I want to say the soft mode key rather than the mode button, because all of that drives this app are these 5 keys up here at the y equal. So I have to be careful about that mode key is not what I want, and I have to press the window rather than the other mode key. And so that is one way I can change the order. But if I go back to just not even touching this and go back to, I guess I do want to change that. I do want to change this to, a plus bi and leave that into real. So let's go to next, and I'm going to press the load button just for convenience because I could type all of this. But if you remember L3, I'll use the 2nd and then the 3, had all of that in there. It just took care of it for me. How nice. And now if I just press the graph key, the hard graph key, that gives me the soft, and it gets some nice print. And I don't know if you recognize those numbers, but if you're in a trig class, you might. And if I wanted to go back and forth from mode to rectangular to polar, I can play with seeing that. Because I'm in degrees, I can press the solve button again, and now I've got actually some excitement here. And if I scroll, if I start plotting these on the complex plane, I can keep going back and forth and then start asking some questions. I'd like to also show that once you get into higher orders, real and auto are not available, so they make some selections so that only reals are, I'm going to only use being in the complex. And you might wonder about, what are those rectangular forms looking like? Well, they really are the polar form walking around the roots of unity. And then there's some questions that I've asked that you can play with later to kind of see what patterns should I engage in. I could also even store this into, this is really weird, I can store this, these roots to a list, and if I hit enter and ask it to go to L2, when I get out of Narnia, then I may have a chance to see it, but I'm still in Narnia, so no, here we are. And when I go into now let's go back to the main, and the other fun one was simultaneous. So we'll have this one. It's a real nice one. I've got it in a 3x3, just to share with you that you've got the beautiful math print there. And I can change these by hitting enter and then climbing up. And if I wanted to change math print, of course, when you get to larger systems, this is going to be tricky to do, but it gets me solutions, which I can change from a fraction to a decimal by using the FD key over here. And I can interact with the system. Do you see the parallels with this, with the polynomials as well as with the system? So it's really that's all you need to know about this app. And I want to exit this by hitting main and 6, or even second quit. And just for fun, if we went in to see what L2 had, it's off the page, but let's take a peek at it. There is some excitement right there. You've got some real complex numbers in there. And even though it was, and they put it in rectangular. So there's one more little app we have just time to give a small little toast to. And Mike, you're going to always throw me, give me the red light here. I'd love to share with you something about the Conic app. Now, the Conic app has an important feature. Certain settings need to be only outside of the app. You have to set them. So if we press mode, I'm going to be in degrees for reasons which make sense later. I can't change it to radians or degrees, and if I go into Narnia, I have to do it here. And so I'll press now the apps button, and we'll go into play with a conic. So if I just look at my unit circle, I can change color here. I've got general form or the standard form. I'll hit enter. Oh, and so what are the keys that work here? Not only the top 5, but the mode key and the enter key and the alpha key. So let me repeat that. That's the enter key, the alpha key, and the mode key are also active in Conics. And they do secret stuff. But I'm going to hit enter, and I'll just press graph. It's on automatic graph. And trace actually get me my unit circle. But now notice mode is a way to get there. It's not a soft key, but I can change it to parametric. You can't change it to degree, but you can change it to parametric. And since I'm already in degrees on my calculator, it knows back from the other setting. And I'll hit enter. And now if I press the escape key to get out, that doesn't mean bail. That means you're done. And I'll hit enter here. And if I trace the unit circle, now I actually have the familiar unit circle, which we can do in other modes on the calculator, but you've got that here. And let's press mode again. Oh, this was kind of fun. I can change my y equal to change this off to any number I wish. It didn't like that at all, so behave. We'll just type 3. And there, I'm going to graph it, and now it's a different window. I may not like that window, but if I press mode, I can actually manually change the window to see the axes. But it has a nice button on it that enables me, if I do that, to actually have a cute zoom button there, zoom conic, so I can get back to manual fit, to automatic fit, which I want to just take 30 seconds here and share with you some cute stuff with the ellipse. We have to at least enjoy an ellipse. So we'll go back to function mode. I apologize, the screens are flying here, but when I go to mode, I'm there. I'm going to hit escape, and I have to escape to go to ellipse. And I'll use the horizontal major axis or the vertical major axis separately. I'm going to keep these settings and just press graph. Beautiful. Right? I can trace on it as usual. But when I press my y equal, I've mentioned the alpha button. Do you notice alpha solve? Alpha solve will actually sneakily tell you some secret information about this. And so you can get there by hidden information there in each of the conic sections. Now, Michael, we can't go over time because there's a giveaway. So I'm going to end there and let you explore more. But there's this cute secret button. Oh, quit can come out as well as second quit. And we have many opportunities there to ask some interesting questions.
Thanks so much, John. And we are going to begin wrapping things up. So if you have any last-minute questions for John or Ruth, please try to get those asked. I know they'll do their best to get any of those questions answered. As John and Ruth both mentioned tonight, we are going to be giving away a T-Cubed Summer Workshop registration to one lucky winner tonight. In case you haven't heard these T-Cubed Summer Workshops, we have about 50 workshops across the United States this summer. They are starting, I believe, as early as early June, and they focus on different pieces of technology, different pedagogies, different content areas. So if you like what you saw tonight and you're looking to learn more about how you can extend your functionality for instance, the TID4 Plus, I bet there's a summer workshop that deals with that this summer. So please feel free to visit our website and learn more. And tonight's lucky winner is Morris White. So Morris, congratulations. We'll be in touch over email in the coming days. To receive your certificate of attendance, please go ahead and click the link in the chat window. Also listed is a link for the documents. I really want to give a quick shout out to what John and Ruth did for the documents tonight. They really went, I think, above and beyond and provided you with a lot of resources and information. So please do me a favor at least and take a chance at some point and look at some of those documents that they put together. I think that they're really clear, easy to understand, and there's just a bundle of information in there. So please go ahead and click those links and enjoy. And in case you missed them, you'll automatically receive them in a follow-up email within a couple days. Also, if you're viewing this on demand, please feel free to jot down the certificate link in your browser, and you'll also receive a certificate for tonight's event. Thanks so much, John and Ruth, for everything tonight. I see a lot of thanks coming in the chat window, so I'm not the only one that wants to thank you for everything you did and put together for tonight. So thanks so much, and we really hope to see everyone back online next week. Have a great night.
Thank you
all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.